Oh, yeah, because that water just went in there and went...
And the coffee was lousy, too, because it didn't even send it through the coffee. It sent it all through the Keurig. So it was just barely coffee tasting hot water. It was disgusting.
Our podcast is about the wrong stuff. You know what I mean?
Really?
It is.
This is the good stuff right there.
Well, you got filler now. Whenever you need it.
There it is.
There it is.
There it is.
There it is.
Welcome to Tech Abilities. I'm Jeff Thompson, and in the studio with me is Serena Gilbert. How you doing, Serena?
I'm doing very well, Jeff. How are you?
I'm doing good. Back here in Minnesota, we're the Northern Star State. You know that? Did you know that?
You know, had I thought it through, I probably would have figured it out at some point. But no, I didn't.
What are you, Rocky Mountain High, John Denver?
We're the Centennial State.
The Centennial State.
Because we were formed in 1876, see? Centennial State, get it?
100 years.
There's history.
What were you doing during the bicentennial?
I wasn't born yet. I had to do the math. I don't think I was born yet. That would be 1970. Yeah, I was not born yet.
I think California is the Golden State, isn't it, Rocky?
It is the Golden State.
Yeah.
The hot Golden State at the moment.
And that's Raqi Gomez from California. Welcome to the show, Rocky.
Thank you, Jeff. It's good to be here.
Rocky, why don't you tell the listeners a little bit about yourself, what you do?
A little bit about myself.
Yeah.
Just put me on the spot. Thanks.
Do you have 2 hours?
Start with your stamp collection.
I work for, some of you actually will recognize the Lighthouse of San Francisco. I manage the Adaptations Store there. So for those of you that have been over in the San Francisco area that have popped into the store, you've likewise met either myself or one of my 2 coworkers that run the Adaptations Store along with me. Currently, we're closed for face-to-face business, so we are operating remotely. So I'm here at my home in Sacramento, California, and we'll be here until we resume our face-to-face operations. But the online store is active, so we've been pretty busy taking orders, and just recently we have also begun taking a profile on the Be My Eyes network. So we also take calls for 4 hours a day from 8 a.m. to noon Pacific time, and take a lot of international calls from people who have questions about products or maybe want referrals or information. So it's kind of a great thing for me. It's a really wonderful position. Sometimes you find your dream job and you can just have a good time and geek out with something that you really enjoy. I feel like I get to get paid to do all of the strange hobbies and things and play with all the weird technology and devices that I like to play with. So I really I enjoy it.
And that's at the San Francisco Lighthouse for the Blind and Visually Impaired, the Adaptations.org. Adaptations, plural.
Adaptations, plural. That's it. We have more than just one.
You got to get the S in there. There we go. Yeah.
Yeah. Adaptations.org is the store's website. And if you want to visit the Lighthouse, actually, we have a pretty rich calendar of programs. So I'll just plug the whole company. Since everybody's operating virtually these days and will be for a while, we welcome people from all over the country. We have a number of community activities too that take place. So you're welcome to check out Lighthouse-SF for San Francisco, lighthouse-sf.org, and pop into the calendar of events and see if anything interests you there, and RSVP and get a Zoom link. Check it out.
You know, I get your newsletter all the time, and it's always neat to sift through it and just kind of see the topics, the happenings, the events that are going on. Now it's a lot of virtual stuff, but you just started a fitness program out there and all sorts of stuff. The whole world's getting creative, but getting that newsletter just makes me stop for a minute, take a break, have a latte or something, you know?
Latte. It's 7 o'clock at night and I want a latte.
Stop bragging about the lattes. Just had to rub that in again, Jeff, didn't you?
Yeah, well, we were just talking before the show. I got a new Keurig machine and it has a latte maker on the side of it. And I think it's really cool. I do think it's really cool. I wouldn't suggest drinking one before you go on to a podcast because it kind of like smooths your voice out. You don't get that. My morning voice is gone. Then again, it's not morning either, so.
I'm still waiting for you to send me that latte.
Oh, the virtual latte.
This will go back when you and I first started recording shows together. You were supposed to send me a latte via the Hyperloop. I'm still waiting.
Oh, yeah.
Via the Hyperloop. How far does the Hyperloop extend?
It's not even around yet. So
Can you just beam it out here too so that I can have a latte?
Exactly. It can stop in the Springs, then just head up to Sacramento,
man.
and then
I could go for a latte.
It'd be about 10 minutes.
That sounds good. I could really use that when we fire up our face-to-face operations again, and I have to start my super commuting to work. Hyperloop would be really nice for me to do that 85-mile journey.
Get there like in 4 minutes.
Be awesome.
I could beam myself over there in 10 minutes.
That's George Jetson. There you go.
And enjoy your latte on the way.
And right. It would still be warm when I got to work. How about that?
And now, for all of you who are health conscious about the coffee you drink, especially in the time of the pandemic, Blind Abilities brings you virtual lattes. No sugar.
What? No sugar?
No water.
No water?
No coffee.
No coffee?
No nothing.
No!
Blind Abilities Virtual Latte. Only $300.
No nothing is right.
Well, Raqi, it's great to have you on the show. Serena, you too. With this virtualization that everyone's been doing, something that came to mind. John Panarese has Mac for the Blind, and he's been around since 2011. He came on and we had a chat for a while, and that podcast will be coming out. A little bit that I'm going to insert here. I'll edit that in.
You'll make it pretty.
Make it pretty.
I said purdy.
Purdy.
Make
it purdy.
I am John Panarese from Mac for the Blind, and you can go to www.macfortheblind.com and find the audio tutorial series and the Apple slices, or you can sign up for free or some low-cost online courses to teach you how to use your Mac and your iDevice properly.
John, I was talking to a friend of mine, Callie Gray, and it came up that she was looking for training on the Mac, and she found Mac for the Blind, and she was raving about it because it is exactly what she wanted.
I mean, I was saying, if I get 20, 25 people interested in doing this, it'll be worth at least something for me. And lo and behold, the Mac courses, I think I had said 145, somewhere's around there, signed up in total. And then the iOS was close to 100. So that just blew my mind. I did not expect that kind of an interest from from everybody out there. And
there's a need.
Yeah, and it's got me motivated now to do more of this stuff,
So you're not the Apple almighty God, as Callie told me.
No.
Raqi, you've heard of John before.
Yeah, he's an amazing guy. That's a great resource, actually, and I think not as well known as some of the others, but he has if you're a Mac user, plug for the Mac, yay! If you're a Mac user, I would say definitely check out Mac for the Blind. There are a lot of really valuable resources up there.
Yeah, and he's going to have a lot more stuff going on in the fall here. He was surprised when he did it for the Mac and the iOS. It was like, wow. He just went, wow.
Wow.
So that's pretty cool. Another group is called Comtech USA. They're doing free stuff. I believe it's on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I'll correct that in the editing room if I'm wrong.
This is something that I'm very proud to say that this is, we've been doing this literally since November 2005.
Hello, folks. This is Jack Valachek, and I am a course creator here at Comtech USA.
The amount of staff that we have, the cohesive team that we have, all the different resources that we provide.
My name is Raven Wilson, and I work for Comtech USA as a course creator and tech trainer.
Comtech USA has an iOS, iPhone, iPad, and Mac app in the app stores that lets you have access to the latest news from Comtech, the latest technology news, technology reviews, technology tips and tricks, audio and video sample trainings, and our podcasts from real course creators and real assistive technology trainers.
Comtech USA, COMMTECH USA.net, ComtechUSA.net.
And that's Gabe Vega, and he's been doing this for years himself. So they're making it free, making it available to people. Raqi Max, fellow Minnesotan, I from Minnesota, is also part of that group, and they do demonstrations and help people out, teach them stuff, and they have programs where you can buy too. So had a chat with them. Have you guys ever went on to learning session, learning technology this way?
So just in the last, I would say, few months, there have been so many virtual things from, the people out there working with kids in the education space like APH to all of the tech companies to the consumer, groups and conventions and stuff. And it's really kind of put a neat spin on something beyond, that's a step beyond, let's say, college courses online where, they're really virtual and interactive. And I've really found it's just a positive experience across the board. I've found that I've learned a lot, and I think it's actually easier to kind of zero in on the speakers. I've been just kind of attending conference after conference. I think sometimes I hear Zoom in my sleep, but it's been a really interesting way to learn. I'm kind of biased. I'm really in favor of online courses and online lectures and webinars, and I just find them a really good way to get a lot of helpful information and also go back and review it if you need to. I've found it to be a really positive experience. I know a lot of people have mixed feelings about it, but I've just really found that, especially since the pandemic has started, there have been a lot of great resources coming together and serving a lot of people who are brand new in this space. And I think that's really, helpful.
Serena, you have a lot of side jobs. Are you doing webinars and everything like that?
You made that sound super suspicious. Like, you have a lot of side jobs.
Side jobs.
Side jobs.
Like she's connected or something.
So funny.
Like she's got a hustle or something.
Yeah, side hustle. Yeah.
With all of my side jobs, as Jeff likes to refer to them, I actually have not had the time to engage in as many webinars as one would think. The last thing I did, and this is maybe March or April, right when the pandemic started, is I did have a one-on-one virtual lesson with a trainer on how to use Google Sites with JAWS as far as creating a Google site and trying to work through some of those shortcut keys and things like that. And that was super helpful because we were able to use Zoom. And when something got stuck and wasn't working the way it should, he was able to use remote control through Zoom and figure out oh, that's weird. That's something that's broken. Let me email Google about that, things like that. But prior to the pandemic, though, I did attend the Freedom Scientific webinars that they would do. They had a lot of them. They had started doing a lot of them actually on the Google products and working through those. So I learned a little bit from those as well.
Yeah, it's really interesting. The times we've changed, as someone who's been blind and visually impaired for over 20 years, I've always wished more things were online. I never wanted to do an online course, but I think with this pandemic going on, all the cracks have been exposed and everything's pretty brittle. And now you can actually get the ear of developers or people who are in charge of it. And they pretty much are starting to listen because everyone's in this space now. So it's really cool. I'm running the iOS 14 beta, and there's some really cool stuff. They got the built-in translate app. And when you can talk and it translates it real time, and then you hit a button and it speaks it to you, it's like, okay, I'm using this.
That's amazing. The first time I saw a real-time translator, a lot of people we played with these translate apps for a couple of years back and forth, and they do okay. And we all kind of laugh at how bad, of a job they bungle it sometimes. But I saw someone come into the store actually and do a complete transaction. I walked in the middle of it and they were talking to one of my coworkers, and he was a Chinese speaker and she speaks English, and there was just absolutely no crossover whatsoever. But he had a smartphone. He was using Android, and I don't know what he was using, but back and forth they were going, and it was the neatest thing to watch because the phone was just doing all the heavy lifting, and they were able to get their transaction. She took his credit card and took the payment and rung him up and gave him his stuff and, got his questions answered. And it was really a neat thing to see. A little glimpse of how easy it will be in not a very long time. In a very short period of time, we'll have tools that aren't just sort of mediocre resources, but are really thorough, adequate translators that do a pretty decent job at conveying what it is you want to say. I'm really looking forward to this. There's so many things that finally in this beta that I'm excited about. This is one of them.
When I know was it 13 or 12? I don't know. Those just blur together because 13 was just such crap. And one of those, Siri was able to start doing kind of sort of translating. I don't know how accurate it was or anything like that. Is it pretty fluid, Jeff? Like where you just double tap like with voiceover and push a button? Or is it kind of clunky where you have to find the button and, make it stop, make it start kind of thing? Does it use Magic Tap or?
It's one of those pages that, you don't find a menu, you don't find settings, you don't find anything like that. You just pick your language. It says English button. So I hit it and I can switch it to Spanish, English to Spanish. That would be where you switch it to. And then there's a button that says basically you start talking. And I started talking. And when I got done, there's voiceover just rattling it off, but there's another button that you hit speak. So it speaks it to you.
It does.
So if you wanted to learn short sentences and just hear the feedback, this is the way to go. Like Raqi, you were saying, to be able to be sitting next to someone that, if they're sighted or whatever, or talking to you, you could have that conversation and it's built in.
It was amazing. Yeah, it's amazing.
I just saw a thing come out on Microsoft Word on the web that it'll translate audio to text. Now you have to have the 365 subscription and it's not out yet totally for everybody, but it's coming. And they say it's just, something that's been pressed. Like we're using Zoom right now. Zoom has a translate type of for caption, putting text to the words and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's like a plugin and you have to pay a service you have to pay for to kind of plug into that API and everything.
But if you have 365 subscription, it's yours. And then they say that it's going to probably be by the end of 2020, it'll roll out for everyone and probably go into the apps that are in your computers, which would be cool. You guys there?
You left us speechless, I guess.
Well, it just seems like something like it's a need. It's going to put a lot of companies that have been charging $35 a month or $20 a month, and now they put it out there for free. It's like another big giant.
Yeah, what's it going to do to all those transcriptionists or those transcribers that transcribe, seminars for a living? I don't know how well it's going to do until people learn to give people their own mics and actually pay attention and just transcribe each channel at a time. And then they won't do that for a while. They'll put one mic in the middle of the table and be baffled by the fact that it can't unscramble and discern who all of those 12 people are that are speaking. But I have to wonder what it'll do to the professional transcriber in the end, because it is a really easy problem to solve. Give everyone their own clean channel and the transcription software will do pretty well. I use the Just Press Record app and there's a button in there where you can have it transcribe also. And I've always been a little skeptical because I know certainly what long dictation strings and stuff can turn out like, but it's a neat thing in the making. And I think for things like captioning and stuff, it's a lifesaver. Somebody doesn't have to sit there and do all that transcription by hand again.
It's like we all got the United Nations in our own phone,
right? Like we speak any language, we write any words you want. That's great.
Yeah.
It will be interesting to see how well it does. Like, I agree with you, Raqi, because take Spanish, for example. There's so many different unique ways to say different things. Like if it's a formal person, if it's a friend, if it's a family, like there's different, I forget the terms because I am horrible at languages. My brain doesn't work that way. But Spanish, just as one example, even the Spanish they speak in Mexico is slightly different than what they speak in Spain, or, there's just subtle differences that it could be obvious that it was done by a computer as opposed to a human.
Well, there's a lot of use of idiom too, and that's where it starts to get really interesting. It's like, okay, how well is this going to tap into some of the nuances of speech or some of the slang or some of the language that may not necessarily literally mean exactly what it is that you're saying, but everybody knows what that phrase means, how thorough is it? And I'd like to believe that since it's based on, we have these engines that are able to do this real-time translation, that we'll have, pretty decent updating of things that are indicative of different pieces of linguistic, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm looking for a word. It's too late in the evening, so I need my latte. But their character, their whole just stylistic differences depending on where you are. Like you said, what country, what region. And I just wonder how well they're going to keep up with that vernacular.
I wonder if I had my druthers would come across in Spanish. Yeah. Another thing about translation is I had some followers on Blind Abilities that are from Japan, and I can hear their names, and you always hear voiceover switch over to a different voice and try and say it correctly or whatever. So I go into their tweets, but if you go through the tweet and keep swiping, it'll say translate. And if you hit it, in text, it'll translate that tweet. And they're saying like, you don't know what they're saying because if you don't know Japanese, then all of a sudden it comes out saying stuff like, we have to have the rights for the blind, just like everybody else, to get our test on time. It's like they're saying the same stuff we are.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And it's like, wow, these people are cool. The only thing is when someone responds to it, it doesn't give you the option to follow the thread, you know what I mean, to keep translating. So I wish, I'm glad they have it there for the initial tweet, the initial blast that the person's putting out. But I wish that you could actually switch the language around in that.
On the fly and follow the translation.
Mm-hmm. Follow the thread.
Give it a year.
Yeah.
It'll be there.
We're going somewhere.
Here's the thing about translate. We're going places. Eventually, translation is going to be as seamless. It'll just be a no-brainer. Because the knowledge is already there. The intelligence is there. The linguistic structure, it's there. It's just give it time. Give it a year.
I could freely drop into Colorado and talk to anybody then.
You're right.
Really?
They could come to Minnesota and talk to you too.
Nobody will ever be able to translate
sure.
his Minnesotan verbiage.
Minnesota.
Does anybody ever say, wait, slow down. Are you from Colorado?
No one ever says that. There's no Colorado accents.
You're not like from the other side. Oh, she's from the other side of the mountain.
They might, if your speech is a little bit slower and you're super chill, then they might ask. But they might ask if you're from California too, if that happens.
I was going to say, that's starting to sound like California now. It's a little slower and super chill. Now you're going like Los Angeles all on us.
There's one other thing in iOS 14 that I really found was audio customization. And I thought, well, what's that for? Why is it in accessibility? And I was like, And they said, well, you have to have AirPod Pros. And I got AirPod Pros. So there I am going down the accessibility line. And, I go down there and they have this one called audio visual. So I tap on that. Then there's audio customization. And you can manually do this, like for phone calls. You can bring up like the mid-range and you get to listen to.
Equalize it a little bit.
Yeah. So, and the highs can be pushed a little bit. So I went through the manual stuff and I slightly, I didn't need anything. And I don't like a heavy mid-range. I'm just not that guy. But then they have this where you can go into the customization and you go into this and it actually plays a song for you. And then you get to go with or without, and you get to pick this stuff and it's neat. And they also have people talking. And if you can't hear it that well, just say so and it'll tweak it for you. So like if you're in a crowded area and people are having conversations, you can't pick it out. It enhances that tone, that certain color of the voice. So it's really neat. It'll work on phone calls, movies, music. It's kind of cool.
I like to pride myself on knowing what's going on. I've been doing this for a lot of years. And I saw this right before we started the podcast and I went, what? I have the original AirPods and I have the second generation and then I have the AirPods Pro. So I cycle between all three of them. And when one dies, I go grab the other pair, And I've seen some really interesting customization for the AirPods Pro, but some of this is brand new. And so I got really excited because especially where AirPods are concerned. I mean, I have them in my ears almost 23 and a half hours a day, unless I'm in the shower. I mean, I sleep with them. It's crazy. I wear them everywhere. So this made me really excited because I've always found that the new AirPods Pro are a little bit heavier on the low end, which is, it's okay with me. I'm like you, Jeff. I like to cut a lot of the mids out and bring the highs and the basses up. I just tend to have it's just a curve that I like for music and stuff. But I've always wished I could bring the highs up a little bit. I don't know, maybe I'm just old and losing my hearing.
No, you can.
But I'm so excited. And I saw it about a half an hour before the show and I went, darn it, I don't have time to go play with this now. I'll be drinking lattes and playing with my AirPods as soon as we get off the podcast because I'm really excited about this. I think this is awesome. I don't know how many people use the pass-through feature whose name escapes me. Transparency. Thank you. Slow brain. But I use it all the time and I find it just I can't imagine now going back to headphones that don't have the ability to mix, what's going on around me with what I'm always listening to,
Yeah, you can have the pass-through on. I do that when I'm on a walk or if I'm doing other things, and I can pick it up because I had it on noise cancellation, and this mail truck was coming.
Uh-oh.
And they have like those fake motors in them, they got the LP gas. And I'm like going along, do-do-do-do-do-do. And also it was like, oh, mail truck. And the guy, as soon as I stepped around it, he...
Who was your O&M teacher, Jeff? Like, come on now.
He's not listening to the podcast, whoever it was.
Oh, man.
This Week in Tech was going, and I was really into it, man. I was like, I forgot. But, some people just put one in so they can hear the sounds. I just happen to have noise cancellation on. But now, another setting in the AirPods settings, you can turn on for one ear. If you just have one in, you can have noise cancellation on one ear. And that wasn't there at first. So it's neat that
That would throw me off so
that
bad.
made me feel really lopsided. I'm like you, Serena.
Yeah.
I'd have a really hard time with that.
keep walking to the right all the time.
All right, my head would be on the ground like, what?
Yeah. With the original AirPods, I used to wear one all the time because it didn't really plug your ear. It just kind of sat there. But with the AirPod Pros, geez, they have that silicone, whatever it is, the silicone tip that does kind of plug your ear.
They're in your ear.
Yeah, it's hard to wear just one of those. I just feel weird with it.
It gotten spoiled. I think, for years it was okay because that was what we had to do. And, you get a single Bluetooth earpiece or heaven forbid even before then, most things you'd have one thing in your ear and the other ear was there for traveling or talking or whatever. But once you have the ability to have the sound inside your head like that, I mean, for me, once I was able to mix and balance at the same time, and have it in both ears but be able to regulate it. It's so hard to go back now. I put one in my ear, even of the original AirPods, like Serena said, where they don't really block your ears and they just sort of sit there. But it bugs me. I want the sound to be in both ears or not at all. I think because I haven't split my attention between two sound sources, one for each ear in such a long time. I've gotten really used to having both ears able to balance, and so I'm kind of spoiled now with that transparency feature.
It's the way of the times, I tell you. When I saw the price of them at first, I was holding back. So after about 5 seconds of debating, I dropped it.
I was going to say, how many minutes did it take?
I was going to say, I was like, I'm pretty sure. I remember when they came out because it was like last October-ish, right? I'm pretty sure you got them didn't you do a 2-hour delivery or something?
You just punch it in and all of a sudden 2 hours later I got them.
Show up at the door.
I had them before we did the show.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was like the day that they released, and he's like, I held back.
Wow. See, I waited.
I didn't get mine for 2 weeks.
She was going to wait till Christmas.
Wow.
And I was like, screw that.
I don't feel so guilty then. I feel like a nerd buying all these, especially with headphones. The AirPods really are like the cool new product for me of the decade. The way the iPhone was of the first decade of this generation. AirPods have just revolutionized. Honestly, I have them in my ears all the time, all the time.
Yeah, I don't believe all those stories about the bacteria buildup and all that they warn you.
Yeah, they're cleanable.
I don't even want to know what mine look like.
That's what soap and alcohol are for.
I gave my husband my first AirPods, and I was all offended because he was cleaning them diligently. He was like, "Did you ever clean the case?" And I was like,
hydrogen peroxide, toothbrush.
Hey Jeff, it's Marlon. As you on the topic of AirPod Pros, I've had my AirPod Pro for quite a while and I've not been given admittance into the AirPod Pro Pals Club. Can I have the password? Please, so I can be part of the club with both you and Side Hustle Serena. Thank you.
That's funny.
Another thing that's coming out, the speculation, the theory of things to come. We got Apple rolling out some new products. One of them is the nebulous AirTags,
Sure, Jeff. Mm-hmm.
So it's been, I think maybe they went the way of Don't
Don't say those words around Jeff.
Well, they say they're coming.
Of of air.
But someone's actually starting to describe them now. They're a 1/4 inch thick. They're in a circle pattern. They're using the U1 chip, which is going to give them a better location if you lose one and stuff. That's what I like.
Through walls, and that's going to be fabulous for people who can't see. You'll be able to get so close to things and pinpoint.
Yeah, angles.
I'm excited. I'm really excited. Seriously, for all that, I'm a skeptic too, but I'm excited.
And any Apple device that has that chip in it will be able to tandem up.
It's right here. Yeah.
Like, hey, we're looking for the AirTags. And then your other Apple device is over there going, I can help.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they're a superhero team.
Yeah. Marvel's going to work out a deal with Apple.
But can they? I just don't understand. And I know two things. Number one, why can't they put a GPS chip in those? Like, I just wish, I know they'd probably be more expensive, but that would be crazy helpful if you lost them on a train or something, you know? And then why isn't it just built into the Apple TV remote? Those things, and I know you're going to talk about this a little bit later. Maybe this is why they're doing it. But that Apple TV remote, when you have a 7-year-old, gets lost way more often than it should.
Well, how come nobody likes? Will somebody tell me what it is about the Apple TV remote that nobody likes?
It's just too small.
I've heard this from. Is that what it is? Nobody likes it.
I don't mind the design of it and stuff. It's just too small. It's easy to lose.
It's like a tongue depressor, you know. You just kind of
everybody hates it. Everybody. I even listen to Leo Laporte on Twit all the time. All those guys just rag on. If you listen to Mac Break Weekly, man, they just tear up the poor Apple TV remote. And I think, why? It's kind of cool. But I don't have children. And that makes, I get it. It's tiny. And if it goes under the couch or something, you probably won't see it again forever.
Well, or until you're not looking for it. And then, there it is.
Right? Until the vacuum runs it over or something.
Well, and we have like the old silver one and like the, the 4th generation or one or whatever it is. They have so many different ones.
With the touch surface.
Yeah. And I don't mind the touch surface one. I think it's super, like it's fluid. Like I have no problem using it. Now, my husband, the sighted person here, always has it upside down. He's always pushing the wrong button. I'm like, that is not the right button. Oh, I had it upside down. I'm sorry.
Yep. Mine can't use it either.
I'm like, you can't tell the difference. I mean, it's more matte on the touch part. Like it's.
So I got this figured out. If I was a single guy, I would want to say I like beaches, sunsets, and I operate my Apple TV remote the right side up.
And I need a girl who can operate my Apple TV remote for me.
I don't think it's that complicated to operate because there's one long button for the volume. It's not hard to figure out where it goes. Like,
I saw the Apple TV remote has settings in my phone right now, and I thought, what? So I went into it, and I can turn off the slide.
Yeah, you can use your phone.
You know, the slide gestures on the remote? You can turn those off and use buttons instead.
On the remote, yeah.
Huh.
That must be new for 14 and whatever the tvOS is going to be called.
I don't know. The beta right now, I think, is working really good. I'm getting to that point where when someone starts mentioning 13, I just go, whatever.
You're past it. It's so yesterday.
They should have literally just skipped 13 like hotels do.
13 was bad.
It is bad. I hope the Braille support is a little more fluid. It's gotten better. There's some issues. I would be okay with it, except that it was really fabulous for a while. And then things just started to go awry and they just never got fixed and never got fixed. And then a few things got fixed and then things went awry again. And, it's gotten better. It's gotten some attention. It's better than it was in, previous, I think it was iOS 12 where it was just, maybe it was 11 or 12. It was just awful. I mean, to the point of being unusable by some people, but it still has some really odd, weird anomalies with voiceover, and I just hope that, I don't know if you've had a chance ever to play with it with the display, but I'm curious, especially in apps like Mail, how the Braille support is, and at what point does it break itself, if it breaks itself.
Well, that's always been a touchy area, and you go over to Android, and a lot of people complain about that. It's so...
That's unusable. That's unusable. So,
we were talking about the Apple TV. They say they're going to be faster. And I just think, why does it have to be faster? Why do they need a bigger chip in there? I mean, I'm watching a TV show. I'm not going to watch it in 12 minutes if it's 60 minutes. That's not fast. That's fast forward.
I will say, though, we've had, and I don't know if Hulu's just having problems or what, but on our newest Apple TV, because we have two 4th generation ones, whichever one's the newest one, sometimes we'll click Hulu and it'll just sit there, never load. You have to to shut down the app. So I don't know if that's the chip thing or if it's Hulu that's just horrible. But another thing that made me laugh kind of internally was you mentioned like, am I going to watch a 60-minute show in 12 minutes? And I'm not sure if you guys saw an article. This would have been a few weeks back about the rumor about Netflix making it where you could speed up the audio.
Yeah, you can.
Could you imagine Robin Williams sped up?
Why would you do that?
I would never. We chat about it. I would never do that.
I
think
don't.
It ruins. I don't. I don't.
Oh,
I don't
do.
speed up podcasts.
Oh my
I don't
God,
speed
I
up
do.
audiobooks.
I couldn't listen to. Oh man, if I had to listen
so
to a
weird.
normal speed, I'd be gone.
Oh, I can't do it. My husband. Oh man, my husband walks around listening to our podcast on fast speed, and it irritates me to no end. I'm like, I need you to get out of this room.
Yeah.
So, Raqi, you're going to listen back to this podcast probably at double speed, right?
Probably 2x. Yeah.
So I'm going to say this just for you.
Really slowly.
Oh my gosh, Jeff.
No, maybe 1.5. It depends on the narrator and what it is and who it is. Some things you can't speed up. And Netflix, I think, would be really awkward because with books or something where it's a single audio source, I will absolutely speed up a human reader. But I think with a movie or a documentary or something, that's a little more difficult. You've got music and you've got ambiance and you've got right. And I think also when you do speed it up, unless they've done a really good job, you get a lot of compression. So it starts to get all compressy, and you get that where it just takes the good stereo image. Can you imagine a garbled movie and that's supposed to be in stereo, and now it's kind of sort of in stereo? But I think it depends what you speed up.
The first half of Castaway.
The first half, just try the first. It's basically a 15-minute movie. I mean,
Yeah, you take that away from it. There you go.
Man, just hear a bunch of ocean waves the whole time.
Roy Samuelson would say, don't speed up my narrations.
I thought it was a weird place to put. I mean, it really has nothing to do with anything, but I could see, someone like YouTube even doing it because there's a lot of spoken audio, but I thought it was a weird thing for Netflix to do. And I know that's a little bit of a segue from, say, Apple TV, but I really did think that was an odd thing to implement.
And YouTube does have it where you can speed up the audio because my husband will watch like live video podcasts on there, and he always has it sped up.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense because that's spoken audio, but I guess Netflix is too, but that's all movies and stuff. That just seems a little odd to me.
Well, and you would think that the Hollywood producers and directors would not want that to be an option because part of watching a movie is the dramatic effect, I
don't think they were happy about it. I think there was a lot of controversy about that. A little odd to me.
For anybody that's older, maybe, Paul Harvey would be very upset.
Paul Harvey.
We only had 3 channels back then. Come on.
Those were the days. Those were the good old days, Jeff.
Serena, the bicentennial was 1976.
I was in kindergarten. Thank you.
I was not born in 1976.
God, I was in school, and I remember sitting in kindergarten learning about the bicentennial.
I was in school. Yeah.
First grade.
Oh, did you get to wear those triangle hats? Did you fold them up?
God, I forgot all about that. Yeah, it was a big teaching experience for them to try to teach little kids history. We didn't know. We could barely say bicentennial.
Serena, are you still sporting the HomePod in your estate?
I am, and it's still my favorite speaker, other than our very massive surround sound system.
Rumor has it.
Rumor has
it. That
was totally unscripted.
that the HomePod is going to come out with kind of like a mini or a HomePod 2. It's not going to be focused more on the music, which is awesome music in itself right now, but it's going to be focused more on being a personal assistant that people will have.
Is it portable?
Then I'm going to need them to actually make Siri a competent personal assistant first.
Yeah.
She is by far the worst personal assistant out of the home speakers or the smart speaker.
I mean, I got the Sonos, which have the Amazon on there, the lady. And then I have the Google and these commands that I use throughout the house. I can change up the Amazon ones a little bit. But if I say, hey, S person, my watch could go off, my phone could go off. Now a device, it's like, whoa, it's like if there's a tornado coming, this place lights up around this place. My watch, my phone, everything. It was like, wow, how many devices do I have? One more? I don't know. I don't know if I like the speaker part of it. I don't know if I want one just for another device, though, another assistant.
Yeah, they should focus on the audio because the audio in the HomePod is absolutely amazing. Like, there's nothing that I've heard that sounds anything like it. But whenever we're trying to ask that lady something, she fails every time. Sorry, I can't do that on the HomePod.
But that's not the fault of the HomePod. That's her. So do you find that even the HomePod supersedes your Sonos?
I don't have a Sonos.
Oh, Jeff's got the Sonos.
Yeah.
Jeff's got the Sonos.
Because I never invested in the Sonos because I knew the HomePod was coming. So I was like, I'm going to get the HomePod because I know that the accessibility will be there.
You're built into the Apple ecosystem
Exactly.
like the rest of us. So
Exactly.
it's easy to get Apple stuff because it's all plays nice with each other. Jeff, is it slated to be portable or is it going to be battery powered? Can you carry it since it's the little mini version, or is it?
It might be right there with the air power. I don't know. It might be something, 3 years from now going, it's coming. It's coming.
Where is it? Because I would kind of like a battery operated version that I could pick up and carry, back and forth to work when I have to stay over there for a couple days or whatever. I'd kind of like something that's, I don't use speakers too much because I always have headphones on at home, but that's only because I live with someone else. If I travel or whatever, I do kind of like to have a portable speaker. So that'd be sort of cool if it had battery power.
And a suction cup right in the shower. Just
put
it up there.
Right in the shower.
Oh my goodness.
Right on the tile. There you go. Right on the glass door. Above the spray,
Make it waterproof too.
There you go.
I do have a really nice portable speaker by Bose. The SoundLink Mini, I think is what it's called.
Yep.
Oh, they sound amazing. And the battery life is really good. So it's not as portable as others, but I think it sounds really good.
It's pretty good.
Pretty tactile.
I have another one called the Fugu, the big Fugu XL, and it's a little bit larger to carry around. I bring that when I exhibit and stuff because it can sit in the exhibit hall with me and last a little longer.
Is that the big circular one?
No, that's probably the Bose Revolve you're thinking of. The Fugu is a long, kind of shaped sort of like the JBL Charge, but it's got tweeters that fire in all directions. So it's kind of neat because the casing, it fires from the ends and the sides. So you have 8 different tweeters in there.
Oh, wow. No wonder you're losing your high pitches.
Right? You can only get this is the problem, right? It's still only, 14 inches long or whatever. So even if it blasts the music out the sides, you can still only get so much separation from a speaker that is that narrow. It's not going to sound as good as something in your living room where you've got one on each side, but it's good enough for traveling around and getting good audio.
The only reason I got the Sonos was someone was moving into the HomePod venue and they sold them for half price to me, and they're basically brand new. They came in the original box, so I got the Sonos ones up on the cabinets above the counters. It works really good, especially when you can switch off if you want, your Amazon or your Google voice in there, whatever.
Yeah, no, that's nice speakers.
I like it. I really wanted the HomePods because of the science, the technology that they built into them things. Someone told me one time it was like $35,000 worth of technology built into just a unit. It's like, wow.
Yeah, and the people that have them will tell you there's nothing better. I mean, everybody that I know that has one says what Serena said. It's just a great speaker. I mean, I just have heard that from every single HomePod user. So I know there must be a little magic in there too, maybe.
I think it's got 7 far-field microphones, so it can...
Mics,
yeah.
It's bassy, too. Like, it's the size of the easiest way I can describe it, like a Costco-sized pickle jar. But it has a massive...
It's got some boom,
It must have a sub in there that was the same power of, like, I'd say a 10-inch
Is it
sub.
that small, though?
Yeah,
you can pick it up and move it.
Yeah, I mean, it probably weighs like maybe 2 pounds, I would guess.
See, I stayed away from this. You're going to make me go spend more money now, and I might just do it.
Wait until the events because they put them on, because I paid full price for it when it came out, but they're definitely a lot cheaper now. So I'd wait until after whatever events Apple does this fall and see. But I love it. And the other thing you can do with it too is you can say you're listening to something on your phone, you get home and you're like, I'm going to listen to this
Switch
here. You
it
just
over.
hold the phone above it and it transfers it.
I love that.
Like
Oh my
magic.
God.
As long as your
I've
phone's
been spending
unlocked, it
too much-
transfers it. It's super cool.
Another apple for the orchard.
I can't. I'm spending too much money lately. Oh my gosh, I want one now.
Where are you guys on your updates for your phone? I mean, I'm not necessarily ready to do it, but I've had mine for 2 years and the 12 should be coming out. And there was something about some cases that and this one guy he's well known that they have an extra hole in one of the cases and the other case didn't have the hole. And they're wondering if it's the Lidar.
The Lidar sensor in the 12 Max or whatever it's going to be, the biggest one.
And that's a big tease for me.
The 6.8 inch phone. 6.8 inches, that's almost iPad mini size.
Wow.
So
that should fit.
And they're supposed to have square edges.
Square edges?
Yeah, they all are going to supposedly have the square edges like the iPhone 5 had.
Is that so it stays in your pocket better?
No, I think it's so you can stand it up on its edge, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
For viewing or whatever.
What is this Lidar sensor?
Lidar is the ability to check distances out. Like most of the time when something senses where things are in a room, this is going to be able to say you want to find a chair. It might say it's 3 feet in front of you. It's just more information for spatial recognition. It's a new science, something new. And how are they going to incorporate that into all these apps like Microsoft's Soundscape or something?
Yeah.
Where will they go?
Or imagine the pictures you could take if you knew relative.
I just want empty seat finder for the Amtrak train when I go back to work. Let me just point the camera and see if there's people sitting there or not when I'm walking by.
How cool would that be? Does some subtle vibrations or something on your Apple Watch or?
Yeah, or give me a sense. Is it empty or is it? Yeah, I'd love to know.
Oh, when I was talking to the people at Apple, when I brought up Lidar, it went quiet.
No one's going to even acknowledge. What are you talking about? No speak English.
Moving on.
I ask too whenever they come in the store. We've got a couple folks and I won't name any names, but we got a few. And so I love to tease them. Hey man, and when they're bugs, I go, hey, check it out. Look, it's broken. And it's fun because I know that they're going to go back, they're leaving the store and they're going to go back to Apple Park or wherever they go. And so it's always fun to kind of bend the ear and hope that maybe they're listening to me and not just going, yeah, another one, but it's I love to ask questions. And of course I don't get any, I don't know, maybe, I get no responses, but I love to try to finagle information about what's coming. Of course I get absolute silence too, but that's to be expected. So that's pretty cool.
You never know. You might catch them on a weak moment one day.
No,
and
they're pretty guarded. They're sealed.
They actually send in a droid of themselves first.
Right? I think so. I think that's what it is. They're very careful.
Are you sure it's a droid, though? I mean, because they're from Apple, so.
Droids from Apple.
Apple droid. Yeah, the new conversion.
Oh, my goodness.
You got Android in my Apple.
Oh, God.
You got Apple in my Android.
So confused.
Oh, no.
But
Apple has the Translate app now.
Stop.
It was due.
You had asked about our upgrade status, and I am 100% upgrading. I don't know what I'd choose. I have to see what comes out. But my phone's 3 years old. I have the 10. But I try to upgrade whenever the form factor changes is kind of my deal now. I used to upgrade every other year, but then they stopped changing the form factor, so I didn't care anymore. So I'm due for one this year.
Yeah, but the thing is, if those cases are true, and LiDAR would be that extra one, that's only going to come out in the 12 Pro, which is usually comes out later, may come out later, and is the most expensive one of all. It's like, oh no, here it goes. They're digging in, and
they're getting in.
Yeah, just that slight pull. It's just a slight pull, and pretty soon it's gravity, and I'm sucked in.
But for how long I keep my phones for now, I'm okay paying a little bit more to get the Pro version. I probably wouldn't get the Pro Max or whatever because like that's just massive. But I do keep them for longer than I ever did before. Even when I had my 6, I think I kept that for like 4 or 5 years even because I just like was stubborn because they never changed the form factor.
I don't think size to me doesn't matter anymore. I remember the Nanos. I mean, you could put those in your pocket. You could do anything like that.
I was always afraid I was going to lose that thing.
Yeah.
It was the size of the Apple Watch, honestly.
Yeah, it was. One circle.
It was.
A little bit thinner.
They used to have wristbands for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, they had the Apple Watch before we even knew it.
That's it.
And you know what the stock was back then? Wow.
Well, they did just split
4-way, didn't they?
again, 4 ways. Yeah.
Wow. Well, when you're a $2 trillion company, but you can do anything you want.
They can just keep taking my money and taking my money and taking my money. It's bad, but I'm so in it now. You know, I'm so dialed in.
It is.
I'm looking at the phone. I'm thinking, okay, I bought mine last year, so I really don't have any business upgrading. I bought the 11 last fall. I'm very tempted though.
You're not in line for a new one then.
No, I'm not. But I'm because
there's a rule.
I got FOMO, Jeff. I got FOMO really badly. I want to check it out and play with things, and I'm kind of tempted to sell the 11. My rule is if you're gonna buy something, my rule is always sell it before it loses its resale value. Because if you hold on to something too long, you get nothing for it. And for the longest time, I would sell items to replace them with the newer items, and I'm really tempted. I don't know. I have friends that I could pass my 11 to who would really benefit from it, so I'm sort of tempted, but there's always that part of me too that says, okay, first 5G phones and everything, maybe I'll just sit on it and wait and see how that goes for everybody. But I do like the idea of the different form factor. I'm not sure how I feel about a 6.8 inch phone or if I want to stay with the 6.1 inch size, but the battery life is the kicker that always gets me. My biggest problem with it is there's also that rumored new 12-inch MacBook on the horizon with the silicon chip and promised, 15 to 20 hour battery life. And that'll take a chunk of my money too. I was always a small MacBook Air person, and I've held off on replacing my Mac for years. My Mac is 7 years old now, but one of my Macs is 5 years old, the other is 7 years old. So I'm ready.
I got a 7-year-old Mac and a 5-year-old MacBook Pro.
And my 2011 Mac. So it's time, and I've just held off.
Well, the thing is, if you're going to wait out for a silicon, it might take a couple years for the developers to catch up with that too and everything.
It might,
yeah.
But the form factor, I don't want to carry 13 inches is starting to get to be too big. I love the 11-inch size, and they've just, ever since they went to 13 and 14 and 16, give me a break. I don't want, something that big. So for me, when they talk about resurrecting the 12-inch, I did a happy dance all around my kitchen when I read that on Twitter. I was
lattes for everybody,
and I just hope they. Oh man, I was right. Drinks in the Vitamix or something. I was just excited, and I hope they get rid of that butterfly keyboard. But again, there's another. What is it going to be? At least $1,500, right? At least. So. I'm thinking, okay, just take my soul, take my firstborn, take my money, they ought to just hire me so that instead of giving me a paycheck, it's crazy expensive. So that'll probably make me hold off on upgrading just because I at some point I have to stop it. I could just go out and go crazy, but so I may wait a year because I'm really not in line like you guys are, where you've really held out enough years that you're probably due, and I could get another year out of the 11 easily. So I don't know. The jury's out, but I probably will wait for a little while anyway and see how you all fare.
Well, I know when I bought my phone last time, I did that. I always do I don't even remember what it's called, but if you buy them directly from Apple, you just pay a little each month, and it includes the 2 years of the Apple Care and all that. And even after 24 months, if you really wanted to, you could upgrade. I was like, no, because I don't want to turn my phone back in. But that's exactly why it's theirs for, the upgrade anytime piece, where you get a new phone every single year. You never own your phone, but it's an easy way to do it, though.
I mean, if you're going to get one of those Maxes or something like that, you're looking at $60-some a month, for
on the Apple Card.
you're not paying any interest and it's just boom, boom, boom. But, after 2 years, you're going to sit there. Okay, you don't have to pay anything. Do you want to incur that again? That's why a lot of people went with the SE this year because, gosh, it's quite a phone. I mean, if you're not worried about battery life as much as some of us or the speakers or something, but Lori got the SE and the speakers are louder than the 7, big time. But
Touch ID. I could love to have that. I don't mind Face ID at all. I've had nothing but good luck with it, but oh, do I miss Touch ID. It's just so much faster.
But if people want an affordable phone, an affordable iPhone, I think the SE is a good...
SE's great.
It is. Yeah. You got
it's a great phone.
It's one of the fastest phones out there right now.
Yep. And it's small, fits in your pocket. Touch ID, so if you're in a place where you don't want to pull it out, hold it in your hand, and use it out on the street. You just reach into your pocket and unlock it and do whatever you need to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fabulous phone. It's fast. People seem to like it. My only gripe, I think, would be going back down to a smaller battery again because I have that thing about wanting a lot of battery life. But it's a great phone. So,
well, Serena mentioned something about the real estate.
Affordable.
Yeah, Serena's mentioned something about the real estate on it, and I thought, I don't know, I kind of liked it, but when I go back to my 7 and I start typing on certain apps, you start typing, it's like, wait, why is the O there? It should be, but it's not.
Exactly.
Over here.
When you get used to the bezel-less screens and you go back to a phone that has a bezel, it's different. You're looking for the time way up where there's no touchable screen.
No man's zone.
Completely throws you off.
Yeah.
It's dead space.
Mm-hmm.
And I always wondered, why are they taking this way? Why do they need to go bezel-less, and all that stuff? And now I get
and
it.
then you use it. Yep.
Oh,
and
yeah.
you use it for a while. It's so hard to go back. I have an old iPad like that, and it's just a nightmare. It's just so slow. And it's not really, but I'm touching it, and I'm too close to the edge, so I'm way off, and there's no icons there, and it's going doot, doot, doot. It's terrible. It's like, God, this thing is so slow, and I hit a button, and it has to stop and think about it. So you get spoiled with the quick interaction from the screen and stuff. It's hard to go back, believe it or not.
Have any of you heard any rumored dates of the event?
I read an article yesterday or maybe the day before, but it looked super shady. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, these always look shady. That said that they thought that the event might not be until October. And I don't think that that's the case because I think they want to get iOS 14 out. And I really think they're going to have an event first, second week. Well, I guess September. We're already in the first week of September, but
it's the first week.
But
yeah.
I really think they're going to have it. They normally have it around I would predict it'd be around the 15th. It's always on a Tuesday, and I don't think it's ever been later than that second or third week in September because they want to talk. And what they'll do is if the things are going to come out later, they'll just say, start shipping October 29th
October
or whatever.
31st. Yep.
And people will be fine with that. The pre-order starts in 2 weeks before that. It'll ship the 31st. That's their norm. I don't see them delaying
and
their
they've
major
done that
event.
Before.
Yeah. They did that with the iPhone 10.
Did.
It didn't come out until November when they had the event in September because they released the 8 and then the 10 was delayed.
And I think they're notorious, right, for having events in September. So, whether it's first week or second week, I'm kind of with you. My money's on mid-September, 15th, 21st, somewhere in there. I don't see them letting September go by without announcing.
No, because they want to boost the fourth quarter.
Right, exactly. And they want to have that, it's like having WWDC in June. It's just something that they always do. And I would be really surprised if they wait to talk about it. I think they could wait till October or November easily to ship, but I'd be surprised if they waited longer to see what's coming.
Do you guys remember when their events used to be in June? This was probably the iPhone 4 was the last one they did this with maybe. Their cell phone events used to be in June. And I remember when they shifted them to September.
Back when WWDC.
I don't know if WWDC was moved too or if they just did it at the same time. I don't remember what the cycle was, but it used to be that the new phones would come out in the summer. And then I remember when they switched it to it being in the fall, it was like, it's such a long wait.
Wait longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know when it's going to be. I was trying to figure it out with the betas, and I thought I'd be getting a beta on Tuesday, but we haven't gotten that beta. And what do they call it? The Gold Master.
The Gold
usually
Master should be coming out
is not out
really
yet.
soon. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's usually the week after, right? Isn't the Gold Masters the last one, and then it's usually the week after that isn't that how it works? Or
Yeah, when the Gold Master comes out, like it's usually about 2 weeks before it actually releases to the public, but it's usually the same version that's going to come to the public. And that should be hitting any day now, you would think.
Yeah, and like if you haven't had this life experience before, that's what the Apple events do to me. I want to have this outer life experience, that wow factor that they used to have. Like, oh my gosh. Nowadays, when I see these events, I'm like, okay.
Oh, there's another inaccessible video on the screen. Sweet.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
But if it
I'm going to say that third week. What is that? The 22nd? 21st?
my money's on the 15th. The 22nd would be the one after that. I think the 15th. You think the 22nd.
Whoever wins, Jeff, you got to buy a latte. You gotta,
Yeah.
Jeff has to buy the latte.
You make the latte for the winner and the loser. We all need latte.
And any listeners want to guess, give us a call at 612-367-9063 and let us know what day you think the event's going to happen. By the time I get this edited, I'll probably know. So
we'll know.
I'm going to have to make
Then
a
we'll
lot
all
of
look like we don't
lattes.
know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Give us a call and he'll make you a latte too.
But we can edit anything. We won't look this stupid.
Yeah. Unless we forget to take that out. Let's just not even go there.
Don't say we. Only one of us edits
That's true.
this.
You're the editor, right? You know what?
Jeff.
Tomorrow my bet's on this. Tomorrow tomorrow's Friday. So we're going to get up last day of the week.
Tomorrow is not Friday. That is very disappointing.
Yeah, they're going to announce all the
You have
announcements.
lost a day.
Tomorrow's Thursday. I'm losing it. Oh my God. I'm like, hey, tomorrow's Friday. I have meetings tomorrow too, come to think of it. See, I'm just jumping. I need to sleep. So tomorrow's Friday, let's just say. We're going to wake up and they're going to announce in the morning, or the word will be out.
And then everyone will analyze
Air Power
the
now on sale.
We'll jump on social media and all the announcements will be there about when the event's going to be.
Yeah. The price
Jeff,
of
you've
the
got to give it up on
tags.
Air Power. You're not getting your Air Power. Just give it up.
I heard they're redoing it, and it's going to be vamped down a little bit from what their dream was.
But they announced it, 2 years ago?
That's your dream.
Yeah. Why don't they
Or was it
just
3
call
years
up
ago?
Samsung and
Like-
say, "Can we borrow your
Can you
device?"
just
You know,
do
if
this
they
for
came
us?
out with it now after all this time, do you know what a windfall? You know how many people would run out and buy it?
I don't know though, because people already have there's tons of third-party charging stations out there now.
But it's Apple.
So if you wanted
That's true.
one,
They
you already
wouldn't
have one.
They couldn't charge a lot of money for it because I think a lot of people.
Oh no,
Apple's notorious for charging. It'd be $49,
But look at how much they charge for that smart case, and people still buy it for the iPad. Like they don't care. People will still buy it. But it's like I don't know. Like, do you really want to dismantle the nice one you already have set up on your nightstand just so you can get the one that says Apple? I don't know.
Some people would.
Yeah.
Some people would. I don't know. I don't care too much. The third-party chargers, I think work as well as anything. Unless for some reason that AirPower, let's say it came and it had a really good, stellar way of connecting or didn't drop. I know a lot of people have trouble with, the intermittent charging thing, or it'll stop charging, or maybe they have trouble with placement so it doesn't stay on the charger. If they solved a problem like that where it just always connected and always stayed charged, and I think people would, if they wowed you with the form factor.
That lightning port just drives me crazy.
Well, the wireless chargers,
just
though, they're
plug it
hard to
in.
position.
They
The
are,
key
that's what I mean.
wireless ones.
You
It's
can
hard to get
slide
it perfect
off.
on there. And if
Even-
it's your overnight charge and you didn't realize you put it on wrong and you wake up and your phone's... I had a friend that happened to. She was like, my alarm didn't go off because my phone died overnight.
Well,
and I thought it was charging.
They probably
Or
send
it
a
starts off
backup lightning
charging.
cord.
They have that thing where they stop charging, periodically.
The optimize
to try to, yeah, exactly. So I think people have that happen too. And then they get the charging sound always when it's on the wireless charger. So that I have a friend who complains about that. He said it starts and stops and starts and stops, and it wakes me up because it is noisy. I said, why don't you make it silent? And he said, it's silent until I put it on the charger, and then it's noisy again. So I don't know.
Life in the big orchard. I tell you.
Real world problems.
I know. Well, Serena, Raqi, I think we had a great show here. Serena, this is for Raqi. Raqi, I think it's latte time.
It's
and
latte
time
time
to put your AirPod Pros in and check out that new device under the
She's
audio.
going to be up
input.
all night messing with that.
Cheers,
All
Jeff.
right. All right. Take care, you guys.
And then cue our funky music, right?
And for more podcasts with the blindness perspective, check us out on the web at www.blindabilities.com, on Twitter at blindabilities, and give us a call at 612-367-6093. Leave us a message and let us know if we can put your voice on the next podcast. Drop us an email at info@blindabilities.com and download the free Blind Abilities app from the App Store and Google Play Store. That's 2 words, Blind Abilities. And from all of us here at Blind Abilities, through these challenging times, to you, your family, and friends, stay well, stay informed, and stay strong. I want to thank you for listening. Hope you enjoyed. And until next time, bye-bye.
When we share
what we see
through each other's eyes, we can then begin to bridge the gap between
the limited expectations
and the
reality
of
blind abilities.
The realities of blind abilities.
Blind abilities.
For more podcasts with a blindness perspective, check us out on the web at www.blindabilities.com, on Twitter at blindabilities. Download our app from the App Store, Blind Abilities, that's 2 words, or send us an email at info@blindabilities.com. Thanks for listening.